4 strangers grabbed my wife on our front steps last Tuesday while I was stuck in a faculty meeting. They thought they were about to bully a quiet family. They had no idea they were stepping into a house guarded by 2 retired military K9s, who understand restraint better than most people understand rage. My name is Blake Hamilton. I teach high school history. My wife Lily trained combat dogs overseas, and what I'm about to tell you will sound unreal until you remember we filmed half of it. We didn't move to this neighborhood to fight anyone we came here for. Quiet for a little garden, and late walks with Titan and Zara, a German Shepherd and a Belgian Malinois, who look like sweet family pets until you notice the way they watch doorways. The first red flag showed up as a letter taped to our door on official HOA letterhead. Legal tone, 48 hours, to remove the dogs for disturbing the peace. And then this weird line about how our veteran status wasn't relevant to community safety. How would a board know we were vets when we never told them when the only person we'd mentioned it to was our neighbor Mike across the street? Then a drone started hovering over our yard. Not a toy, the hold position told on the operator, 20 to 30 minutes at a time, always drifting back toward Chloe Foster's street when it left. Meanwhile, the violations piled up like confetti fence height, parking angle lawn edges. Half the rules didn't exist in our bylaws, and the language didn't match anything we'd signed. Lily built a folder, like a case file. Dates, signatures, envelope photos, where the drone hovered. And when, because something felt targeted. You know what I mean. Friday afternoon, a big guy in a construction polo clipboard. The whole act introduced himself as a city inspector named Derek. Said he needed immediate entry to assess animal behavior. Got pushy when Lily asked for a badge, and a supervisor number wouldn't give either. That night, I found tool marks on the side gate and fresh prints by the shed. Someone had been checking our locks in daylight, which told us the fake inspection wasn't a one-off. It was recon. Lily walked the perimeter like she used to downrange sight lines, approach routes, which windows had the best view, then looked at me and said, "They're not guessing Blake. They're planning." Tuesday morning hit hard. I was trapped in a staff meeting where time goes to die when my phone lit up first text from Lily. 4 men at the door claiming HOA emergency lekend. Derek has fake city papers. Third, they grabbed me. Dogs activated. That phrase means everything in our house. Titan and Zara had switched from family mode to handler protection mode. Minimum necessary. Force, no panic, all precision. When I pulled onto our street, neighbors were already outside, phones out. Mike had his security feed up, and what that camera caught is why I will always call our dogs heroes. Derek did the intimidation knock. Lily opened and asked to verify credentials. He pushed the threshold like it was his. 2 guys spread to flank her. A third lifted his phone to film, and when one of them clamped down on Lily's wrist hard enough to bruise, Titan executed a controlled takedown. Legs swept pin to the concrete. Head up, no extra pressure, while Zara slid between Lily and the other 2 low growl, the kind that says, "Try me, and see how your week goes." Lily said, "Release." Guard, and both dogs stepped back, eyes on hands ready if needed. No chasing, no frenzy. Derek thought his camera would capture vicious animals attacking city workers. What he actually recorded was professional restraint in real time. Sergeant Lisa Carter arrived 10 minutes later, military family, steady eyes, the kind of cop who reads a room in one breath. She looked at 2 calm dogs holding a ready position, and 4 jumpy men with inconsistent stories. Checked Derek's phone, and everything started to unravel. 8 months of messages with Chloe time windows. When I was at school, payment schedules for day labor, muscle photos of our yard marked with approach notes. Even a line that said, "Blake leaves by 7:30. Lily home alone, with dogs perfect a window. It wasn't just us either. There were names. The Smiths on Oak, the Johnsons on Pine, an elderly couple pushed out on Maple, same pattern every time. You could feel the neighborhood split after that, half outraged and supportive, half terrified of getting dragged in whispers about property values, anxious glances at our fence, kids taken inside early because someone heard military dogs and forgot to ask about training. Chloe doubled down. Filed complaints with animal control, claimed repeated aggressive incidents, and suddenly, we were scheduled for a behavioral assessment where any protective response, even controlled, would count as dangerous. That's the trap in civilian tests. They measure zero reaction, not judgment. The very thing that makes a K9 safe gets used against them. And yeah, Chloe ran a little propaganda tour, printed photos from training websites, told people that's what our dogs were capable of, warned neighbors to keep their kids away. It was psychological warfare in yoga pants. Then came the sequel nobody asked for. With Derek in county lockup, Chloe sent a new crew led by a man named Marcus. Same fake authority, same clipboard on clipboard. Brand new threat. They banged on our door with confidence borrowed from numbers tried to secure the scene by grabbing Lily first. And the moment hands hit her sleeve, the switch flipped. The filmer went face down under Titan. Before he finished stepping through the door, Zara cut off the escape path and held two grown men with nothing but presence and a promise Lily gave release. Guard again. The dogs backed off on cue. Neighbors recorded the whole thing. Marcus's own guy had perfect audio. Sergeant Carter arrived, collected phones, read through fresh texts with Chloe about provoking a bite for evidence. One of the crew flipped to save himself and admitted they'd been coached on how to poke the bear without leaving marks. You'd think that would end it right. Bureaucracy doesn't move on vibes. The assessment stayed on the calendar, and we had 1 week to prove that disciplined protection isn't aggression. Assessment day felt like standing on the edge of a cliff while smiling for a photo. Obedience was a breeze heel sit down. Stay, then came the noise. Bangs, the sudden run at Lily. And finally, the move that still tightens my chest. An evaluator grabbed Lily's arm while instructing the dogs to ignore it. I watched Titan's muscles load like coiled wire. Watched Zara breathe through instinct, both of them holding that impossible line between training and love. And just as clipboards started filling with words like elevated protective posture, the front gate swung open and everything turned. Tina Coleman, Chloe's assistant, came running across the street with a USB drive and a face that had decided to stop being scared. She handed it to Sergeant Carter and said, "It's all fake. The partnerships, the inspection, requests, the signatures, 3 years of recordings and financial records, 5 neighborhoods targeted families pushed to sell under market contractors, paid to stage confrontations." She had the whole playbook. The evaluation coordinator closed the folder and said, "We're done here." County investigators rolled up and Chloe arrived half a beat late, screaming from her SUV that our dogs had ruined her life. Titan wagged his tail for the first time in weeks and leaned on Lily's leg like mission accomplished. Court is where bullies try one last time to change the story with a straight face. In front of Judge Patricia Wells. Chloe tried to turn our dogs into contraband, claimed we were running a weapons trafficking scheme through a training front, said Titan. And Zara were unregistered military assets. Agent Morgan from the FBI stood, cleared his throat, and calmly walked the court through our de-retirement papers. Transfer documentation, service logs, the whole trail. Then the judge asked Lily to demonstrate control for the record. Lily didn't raise her voice. She never does. She ran search guard. Formation, crowd control. Stand down. And the room changed. Bailiffs forgot to look tough. The animal control rep whispered that they'd never seen restraint like that. Outside a base, Judge Wells wrote slowly, then hammered the gavel with words instead of wood. 8 years for Chloe for racketeering and fraud. $2 million in restitution, lifetime ban from HOA and real estate rules, asset forfeiture, and for us, a line that I will keep forever. These dogs are family protectors who helped expose a criminal enterprise, not a public danger. Life didn't snap back overnight. It never does. But the neighborhood started breathing again. Fake fines got refunded. Property values went up. Once fear went down. Mike organized block parties where kids asked to pet. Titan and Zara and Lily did something I'm proud of. In a different way, she launched a small program to help fraud units tell the difference between real authority and a good costume. The dogs don't chase anyone. They just lie there like living lie detectors while humans untangle paperwork, and somehow the room gets honest faster. Here's what still sits with me late at night. People with titles can turn paperwork into a weapon if you let them, and they count on you being tired, polite alone. We weren't special. We just had neighbors who filmed a sergeant who listened a whistleblower, who decided her conscience mattered more than her comfort, and 2 dogs who chose discipline over fury when fury would have felt so good. So tell me where you're watching from and what you think. Should retired military K9s live in neighborhoods if they're handled right? Or do you think that training can never switch off? Have you ever seen authority used to scare people into silence? And if it happened on your block, would you step in or step back? Drop your story in the comments. Argue with me if you have to hit like, if Titan and Zara earned their treats. Subscribe if you want more real stories where the quiet folks win, because sometimes the calm voice at the door is the one holding the line for everyone.